Peace, 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 peace. Welcome back to the Universal Temple for the sun, planets, moon, and stars. I be your Lord of Hosts, Lord Messiah, and today we going into the history, science, and nationality of so-called black people. Now, I want to thoroughly go into the reason why I say so-called black people, so that I can stop going over your head every time I say it, right? So, starting off, right, and I'm gonna break these slides down, and we're gonna go deep into the science of what all of this is really meaning, right? You know what I mean? Because the lack of education is the reason why we go through all this confusion and we be out here complaining, and they're doing this because we black and all of that type of stuff, right? So let's really get a thorough education today, y'all. It's supposed to be Black History Month, so-called Black History Month. So let's go into a thorough understanding of what this word black means, and let's really get it. So these are all misnomers and or nom de guerre used to keep us from nationalizing. Called black people, who are stateless people, who are also prisoners of war, we are labeled or mislabeled as these nom de guerres that they label us as. And this is all stopping us from nationalizing. What is nationalizing? Coming into a national identity, declaring your national identity. And one of the things in doing that will also bring about what you see here, decolonization. Decolonization is the process in which a country that was previously a colony, he spread over to the West Coast. You know what I mean? So they tell the story backwards, from their perspective. So moving along, 1600s, like 1619, the good ship Jesus and all of that. They called us slaves because they brought us over here on slave ships and all of that. With that whole story, right? 1832, they called us Negro. Negroes coming from the Latin, Portuguese word meaning black, and if you really go back, you trace that. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? And Pete, right? James Brown. You know what I'm saying? If you do the knowledge, James Brown was actually working with them boys. You know what I'm saying? James Brown was actually working with the government. You know what I'm saying? And he was actually, you know, there's like scenes, if you watch that Get On Up movie, there's scenes where like the people rioted after they killed Martin Luther King and all of that, and he was like, yo, they was using him to like calm down people during the riots and all that type of stuff. um so yeah, and also, that term black, basically like was another thing which was stopping us from nationalizing. So 1970 came about and they used the term Afro-American, you know what I'm saying? Stemming from, the Marcus Garvey movement and things of that nature, right? So 1980, they brought it back to black, right? They're like, forget this Afro-American stuff. They're starting to actually think they're American. No, you niggers are black. You know what I'm saying? And we're tired of this afros and nigga, get a perm, nigga. You know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff, right? So 1988, they came with the term African American. I think Jesse Jackson, aka Messi Jackson, was over there in Africa, which was started in 1956. But the Empire of Morocco, which existed long before the Kingdom of Morocco, and we're gonna go into that a little later, because I got a lot of slides we going through today, y'all. And this joint might be about a good. It's gonna be a length of time, y'all, but just stick around because there's so much impactful information, man. I just dropped so many jewels already, but let's get it right. So, 1999, they started calling us this. So now, when a Italian comes from Italy and he gains a dual citizenship here in America, he can now call himself an Italian American. An Italian comes first because his first allegiance is to his mother country, which is Italy. Then his second allegiance is to his dual citizenship, which is in America. So now, by law, he would be considered an Italian American. Are not so-called Negro, colored folks, blacks, African Americans, Moorish Americans, Native Americans, Indians, etc. All of these terms are misnomers. It would make us stateless, also non-descendable, if there is such a word, or not being able to say that we descend from a people, you know. and dead in the eyes of the law, which is civil little mortus. Therefore, we do not subscribe govern themselves, build their own schools, institutions, hospitals, etc. Saying to govern themselves and take care of themselves, right? And last but not least, we got what's called uti possidetis jurisdiction. Uti possidetis jurisdiction is a principle of international law which requires people to presumptively inherit their uh, independence boundaries, which means that you basically, with this slide, we're gonna move on to the next one, y'all. But though, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I got something I want to, a little treat, for so-called Black History Month. Reason why I keep saying so-called, y'all already know. But this sister right here is called Kendria Bland, and y'all can check out her YouTube page, man. She got a lot of, creative stuff on there, man. But I like what she did right here for the History Month, y'all. Check this out, y'all. Y'all gonna like this one.
Trying to put me in the back of the bus, but I'm sorry, little baby, I live in the back. On the march, but you ain't got the guns. Boy, cotton ain't up for discussion. Then we marching. Give me up. Don't be trying to play like I just sat in the seat. Pull up my history, know that I eat. Had them rednecks on my neck trying to kill me. KKK trying to grill me. Had to depart Detroit. Had to start a new start. Rosa Parks got over the baddest, the baddest. But I'm sorry, little baby, I come up with Brooklyn. Politicians is the maddest. Chris Shelley Chisholm is the blackest. Let's get it. How we move. The year was 1972. Had to show them something new. Then I ran for presidency too. Do it. I'm popping messes. I ain't stopping niggas. If you in my way with it, I'm dropping niggas. Keep a blicky on me in my pocket, nigga. If you change your mind, then I'ma pop pits. Big tummy freak 300 slaves. Popping in messes and putting them in graves. Knocking kids out with the mids that I made. Giving out fades and slicing with blades. Kid 6, so you need you a healer. Well, I'm sorry, little baby. I was born in Maryland. Stumbled up on the killer. I'm the Freddy Cougar slave dealer.
Hey, yeah, we gotta run that one back real fast, man. That was hard right there, man. She represented on that.
Trying to put me in the back of the bus, but I'm sorry, little baby, I live in the back. On the march, but you ain't got the guns. Boy, cotton ain't up for discussion. Then we marching.
Baby, up.
Don't be trying to play like I just sat in the seat. Pull up my history, know that I eat. Had them rednecks on my neck trying to kill me. KKK trying to grill me. Had to depart Detroit. Had to start a new start. Rosa Parks got over the baddest, the baddest. But I'm sorry, little baby, I come up with Brooklyn. Politicians is the maddest. Chris Shelley Chisholm is the blackest. Let's get it. How we move. The year was 1972. Had to show them something new. Then I ran for presidency too.
Do what I do.
I'm popping messes. I ain't stopping niggas. If you in my way with it, I'm dropping niggas. Keep a blicky on me in my pocket, nigga. Change your mind and I'ma pop pits. Big tummy freak 300 slaves. Popping in messes and putting them in graves. Knocking kids out with the mids that I made. Giving out fades and slicing with blades. Kid 6, so you need you a healer. Well, I'm sorry, little baby, I was born in Maryland. Stumbled up on the killer. I'm the Freddy Cougar slave dealer.
Alright, y'all. Let's get back to these slides, y'all. Yeah, man. That was hard right there, man. So, this is called the history, the science, and nationality of blackness. So now we're going to get into some of the science, right? So this right here is from another project I did, which is called the 7 original colors or vibratory rates from black, right? And I broke down the scientific meaning of black, right? So, black is not a refraction of light. All right. So, blackness represents life's essence, the black mind in the universe, and the original black man on the planet Earth. And man means mind or intelligence. So when you say black man, you're saying black mind or black intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Like the rapper Black Thought. That's such a supreme name. But anyway, in the first part of self, also our glands in our body, internally. The black gene is a dominant gene in the gene pool. The black earth is exceedingly fertile soil, which is the original black woman. So scientifically, we are black all day. You know what I'm saying? Like we just broke down, we got the pineal gland, which secretes the melatonin, which converted by the sun, converts into melanin. We got the black gene, which is dominant gene. The black woman is known as the earth. And man, that's that exceedingly fertile soil, man. That's why she got 8 kids. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, moving on, moving on. So, I just want to go into a little bit of the science of black. So now, understanding, like I was saying before, how you got different subjects and different fields of language. So when we say black scientifically, we could say all of this. We just broke down, right? When we say black in other terms, like for example, adjective, which is a word describing a noun. So we can't uh, define ourselves as it by an adjective. You know what I mean? So when you say black man, that black is an adjective describing the man. Because you can also say white man, or you can say, you know, brown man, or whatever, whatever. Right? So the black or the white or the brown would be an adjective describing the man. So now let's look at this right here. We've been taught, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Todd Sharik Bey, because he made this teaching very popular when he breaks it down how we're not crayons. We can't look at ourselves as crayons. We can't define ourselves like we're crayons in a box. So if we say, oh, I'm black, right? But clearly, look at your skin, right? Now, unless you're one of them real dark brothers from Africa, you know what I'm saying? Like, because them brothers, listen, I could pull up some pictures right now. I should have put that in my slides, man, to show you some brothers from Africa, man, that's like that black, 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 black. You know what I'm saying? You be like, God damn, they're black. But anyway, yeah, so look at the brown and look at the black. And notice, more. It's all more. They're telling you right there. Brown means more. Now you get into the term black, and they say black means negro. But negro, like we break down, means necro, which means dead. But also going back, to the term blackamoor. You know what I'm saying? So then when you get into that term, and I got another jewel coming too. It's called, we're going to go down later on. It's called Message to the Blackamoors in America. And that's something. Now, this is what we've done, right? This is what we've psychologically done to ourselves. This is what we've done. I'm going to give y'all a second to look at that before I start speaking on this. I'm going to see if y'all can see what that says there. What you're looking at. So, clearly, the color of the actual crayon, when you write on the paper, that crayon is brown. But what does it go with? We clearly know the difference between brown and black. We clearly know the difference. But this is what we do. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, but black, black, y'all, and I'm looking black, 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 looking black, 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 looking black, but black, black, y'all. Y'all remember that from CB4? Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? This is what we do psychologically. So our skin is quote unquote brown or melanin variation of brown, but we say I'm black. And once again, black is not a nationality, because nobody around the world goes around saying, oh, I'm black or I'm white. And even so-called white people, and I say so-called white people, because if we look up the definition of white, and we about to get into all of that too, right? Because all of this stuff got to be broken down. Oh, here we go. So let's go. This is the perfect slide to break all of that down, because I was about to go into some other stuff, and maybe start rambling. But let's stick to the script, right? So this right here is the subsection on your job application, which is also part of the SF 181 form, Standard Form 181. And that form is dealing with race and ethnicity. This is how they identify people, right? These are their misnomers or their nom-de. It says, specific instructions, right? Now pay attention, right? It says 2 questions below are designed to identify your ethnicity and race. Regardless of your answer to question 1, go to question 2, right? So regardless how you write. So now question 1, it says, are you Hispanic? Are you Hispanish or Latino? And Latino is defined as a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican that umbrellas these different nationalities. So it says Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central American, keep that in mind because we're going to break that down when we go a little lower, or other Spanish culture or origin regardless of race. So if you're of Spanish culture or origin regardless of race, you're considered Hispanic or Latino, right? So now question 2, it says please select the racial category or categories. Next part, it says and who maintain tribal affiliations or community attachments. So, since the so-called Cubans, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, South Central, a lot of South and Central Americans have not maintained their tribal affiliations or community attachments, then they lost their acknowledgement or designation as American Indian or Alaska Native. You see what I'm saying? Because they took on the terms Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, and so forth, right? Which is not wrong for doing so because that's the nationality of the republic or the state that defined it from, from where they are, whatever. Whether indigenous or not, it is what it is. So Asian, so this is the difference between. That's why we know that a lot of so-called Hispanics are actually descendants of so-called American Indians or Alaska Natives, but they don't identify with that because they didn't maintain their tribal affiliations or community attachments. So the same thing with so-called black people or African Americans, it would be the same thing. If we don't maintain any type of cultural, community, tribal affiliations or community attachments, then we can't really necessarily call ourselves an African American per se. You know what I mean? So let's go to Asian, and we're going to get deep into that in a minute. So let's go into Asian. It says a person having origins in any of the original people. Notice how all these people are considered original peoples of a specific landmass. So for Asian, it says having origins in any of the original peoples of Far East, Southeast Asia, or the Indian subcontinent. For example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippine Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. Right? Now we're going to skip over black for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Black always last, right? Black get in the back. And I'm going to tell you why that is and the reason. Right? So it says Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islanders. Right? Islander. So it says a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Hawaii, Samoa, or other Pacific Islands. And you know what? Those islands are known as the Mariana Islands. And those are islands that are considered sovereign and so forth. And for those who are, trying to do that whole non-citizen national thing, that only applies to, I've been through that cipher already. That only applies to those people in those like 5 places, like Samoa. It's like 2 others that they didn't mention here. Samoa, resident or non-citizen alien resident or something like that, But anyway, it's different classification, man, different levels of the shit. So, second to last, we got white, right? Now, peep this. This is something I was educating this Caucasian woman one day when she was on here talking about some. I was like, I said, so are you white? She was like, yeah, I'm white. I said, okay, so where was you born? She was like, I was born in the United States. I said, so then you're not white. You know what I'm saying? And think about this too, right? So-called, and I say so-called for a reason because we're about to see. So-called, and I say really, I break down Caucasian because that's what they actually are. Caucasians in America are not white or even American for that matter. Now, by citizenship, yeah, they are. George Washington, the boys set up their whole government due to the permission of the Sultan of Morocco. Any of the original peoples. Wow, how are white people original peoples? I thought black people was the original peoples. Well, in order to be original peoples, you have to have origins as a people in a specific landmass and have that state confer that nationality to you. So if you don't have that, then you're not considered original peoples by definition. This jurisdiction, that's very important for us to understand because you got even some gods that be like, yeah, we the gods of the universe, we own the whole universe. Like, come on, man. Yeah, God, that sounds good and everything, but come on, let's deal in reality, man. Do you even own the whole building that you live in? No. Are you paying rent in your apartment? Yes. Do you have a state ID in your pocket? Yes. Does that any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa? So, if you're not from the Middle East, if you're not from Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa, then you're not considered white. This is why so-called white people always be saying, "Oh, I'm part German, part Lithuanian, part Sweden, part Irish, part all of this type of stuff." They all mixed up with all of this different stuff, right? Right. So like on my mom's side, I'm this and that. I'm like, okay, cool, 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 right? They got like 8 different nationalities in them, right? They claim all that shit, right? So anyway, but you never hear them say just simply Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we came from the caves. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so their true origin is the Caucasus Mountains, and before that, the island of Patmos. But that's a whole nother science. So now, last but not least, we got black or African American, right? Which they started to use that term in. They used the term black in 1965, and then 1970 was it? Or Jesse Jackson in '77 came with the African American. So yeah, right. So black or African American says having origins in any of the not original. A so-called black or African American is a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Then they're saying that our racial, or we are a racial group whose ethnicity is of Africa, right? But look at how they say it. They say any person having origins in any of the black racial groups. Why didn't they say any persons having origins of any of the original peoples of Africa? And then mention the 54 countries. Oh, because that's too much for them to do, right? So they just, and since they don't know which one of these 54 countries specifically we come from, see how they specified Asian? See how they specified American Indian or Alaska Native? See how they specified Native Hawaiian or other specific islander? See how they specified white? To all these specific land masses. But when it comes to so-called black or African American, even if they say what so-called citizen of the United States, why didn't they say a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North, South, and Central America? Why didn't they say that? Oh, because they want us to think that we all came from Africa on some slave boats. And they just brought us all over from Wakanda. Exists because it doesn't exist. You see what I'm saying? And now we just over here not knowing specifically where in Africa we come from. If that's the case. So now they just got us here. They can't, and this is why they never deported us. See how Trump just did a deportation thing? How come you ain't never deport black people back to any of the black racial groups of Africa? Well, how come y'all never did that? Because they ain't got nowhere here in this country, and something happened to them where they violated the laws of this country. They would actually get assistance from their government to come and help them here to handle the dispute, or they would be the case would be what you call extradited back to their country, and their government would deal with their citizens under their laws. Where do they have to send us to have a government of ours deal with us under their laws? Why don't they, if black people get... Damn, I lost my point on that. But anyway, let me move to this next slide, y'all. Because I'll be going on for days. Okay, so now this term black, right? So how we been like, how Brother J. Bay say, delaying our own justice with this term black. So Marcus Masiah Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Masiah Garvey, respect due to, what he tried to do for us and everything like that, and, what he did do for us and everything like that, right? So, one of his famous quotes was, started the Black Star Line, he started a newspaper, a cargo company, all that good stuff, many other things, right? You go into Marcus Garvey, right? Do your history, right? This is supposed to be Black History Month, right? So anyway, so one of his famous quotes that I want to put up here, like that I did put up here, it says, "The black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national." Of your skin, by the complexion of your skin, that's what represents your nationality. No, usually people got a flag, man. Why didn't he say the black in this flag represents is a glorious symbol of national greatness? You know what I'm saying? Because Marcus Garvey came with the red, black, and green flag, right? You know what I'm saying? So why didn't he say that? That would have been more proper. The black in our flag. Let's go. So now we got Noble Drew Ali, right? Noble Drew Ali, break down a little science on the slide. It says, with the incorporation, wow, that one term, that word right there is what lost the sovereignty of the Moorish Science Temple of America in 1928. It says, because once there's in the United States, you got separation of church and state. So once a church or a religious organization incorporates itself under the authority of the state, it now loses its sovereignty and is now, as they say, serving two masters. And the scriptures say you can't serve two masters. And this is also why Jesus said, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and render unto God what belongs to God. Caesar would represent the state. The church would represent God, quote unquote. Right? So this is what Jesus was saying, and in that quote, he's actually teaching us separation of church and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial, which they changed that from part and parcel, not part and parcel, partial, part and parcel, and parcel is like a plot of land, you know what I'm saying, of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, or Ethiopians, right? So, why did they change black Moor to Ethiopian? Oh, because they didn't want you to know who the Moors were. So anyway, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865. Hold on, that don't sound like 400 years of slavery. 1779 to 18, his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Alright, now, there's a lot of science in that, right? So it says, when they first started off, it said that, through their charter and their divine constitution. Now, I'm not hating, but the fact that a divine constitution is dealing with something that's dealing with nations lose their divine sovereignty by incorporating with an actual state. So therefore, when, like they said, in 1928, when Noble Drew Ali incorporated the Moorish Science Temple under the Illinois Religious Incorporation Act of 1928, they lost their divine sovereignty, which was to rule under divine principles, divine right of their, great God Allah, the God of the universe. Then they should operate instead of being all scary to even talk to somebody about something like they wearing a wire. Like, oh my God, is he going to turn this into the IRS? And they're going to hear me talking about something political and I'm going to lose my little tax exemption status? Oh my gosh, man, he gonna mess up the little pension plan they got for my kids to go to college. Yeah. I read up on all of that shit, so I already know what all of that shit is about. So instead of brothers doing what the father told them to do, which was get a trade and do for self, miscellaneous religious organization. In case y'all didn't know, look that up, see what it means. M9 miscellaneous religious organization. That's what the school is labeled under. And I know y'all seen those quotes. My sons, I told you no religion, and we always saying we not a religion. So then, what's who did the father teach that? And you know how every time an idea comes before the parliament and God's rushing up there, I call him the now Cypher Squad. Now Cypher God, the father didn't teach that. He also didn't teach her, which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state. So, when our good brother Dr. Martin Luther King said, I look to the day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their. But so-called black people ain't got none of that. Because we don't have the quality or character that arises from the fact of belonging to a nation or a state. So when we use terms like the black nation, that is an oxymoron. Black is not a nationality, therefore there could be no such thing as a black nation. Now, can there be a collective group of international violations of laws, and there's things we could do to sue them? So let's move on. And how do you sue a state? A state sues another state in a court. It's called the International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice handles disputes between states. So guess what, y'all? So-called black people which is not a nationality and do not have a state that declares their nationality, they can never. 14, it states that a territory can achieve self-government through A, independence, B, free association, or C, integration. Martin Luther King tried C, and Resolution 2625 goes in to say that people can achieve self-government through D, any freely determined political any freely established political I'm gonna get into it later, but anyway, basically once you freely determine your political status, basically you can also do that through. Okay, so let's move on. Now we got Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Respect due, man, everything Elijah did, man. Elijah built the nation, man. I can't hate on Elijah, man. But I gotta tell the truth, man. I gotta speak out, man. I gotta tell it. I gotta tell the real, man. I gotta let it be known. So, Elijah Muhammad. So starting off right, it says Master Farad Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad both attended the Moorish Science Temple of America. There had been a picture of him in the Masonic Lodge. However, we do know that Elijah Muhammad did attend the Moorish Science Temple of America because one of his aliases or one of his attributes or one of his legal names at that time was Elijah Poole, which got changed to Elijah Poole Bey or Elijah Bey. So he had the attribute of Bey. He was a Moor. He was in the Moorish Science Temple. And make a book called Message to the Black Man in America. And on top of that, you knew the signs that this is actually Morocco or the Empire of Morocco. And then you slap the misnomer of black on us, calling us black man, and the misnomer of American, calling us American. So when no bourgeois be synonymous with naturalized. So it's really like I'm saying naturalized, descendants of Moroccans naturalized into America. So once you were born in America, you just relinquish your Moroccan nationality. See what I'm saying? So it's like saying, if you're saying you're Moorish American, it's like, well, I'm like a Moor, but I'm American.